I'm Kevin Coleman, @DuBois_22.
I'm Jeff Bell at For Whom J. Bell Tolls.
And I am Christian Williams at C. Williams NFL, and this is the Devy Royale.
I do this day in and day out, all night long.
Yeah.
This all I think about. This all I care about. Y'all all I care about. Let's go, man, it's here. We televised, so you know we gotta show out. Yeah. They talking junk, so you know we gotta put them to sleep. Yeah. Let's go, man. Let's go. Don't play. We do this every day. We work too hard. Day in and day, like I told y'all. They don't do what we do. They don't do what we do. They never done what we did.
To the races, can they catch it? No, they can't. Touchdown.
I would like to say that music gets me hyped every time we watch it. Like, I'm ready to go. I'm more hyped than watching my Michigan Wolverines every week. But welcome to another episode of the Devy Royale, a member of the Going for Two family. Today on the show, covering spring games, a mascot battle royale, throwing out mascots today, picking a mashup of sports events, and discussing our favorite position battles and who do we think is going to win. But before we do that, let's look at any recent updates in the transfer portal. The transfer portal is looking a little bare right now, but there is one guy that I actually kind of high on. I was last year. That's Luke McCaffrey, but I shouldn't have been because the McCaffreys have just let me down in my life. What do you think about this, Jeff?
He looked good for a little bit against Ohio State, but then, everything fell apart. Going to Rice, maybe that's a competition level that he can handle a little bit more, and, maybe he's a player that we can still get something out of. But, he did not live up to the hype after that initial quick start.
Yeah, as a Devy asset, I think assets being too nice, but maybe some C2C production, probably not. I don't care too much about this personally.
What is the transfer record? Like how many? He's already transferred 3 times, right, or twice. So how many does he need now to hit that record?
Man, we need to know. I'd love to do a research project and figure that out. That seems like something that would be valuable information.
It's got to be a lot. I feel like that's got to be there. I don't know. C2C, he didn't look terrible last year. He threw 6 interceptions and had 1 touchdown, but he looked good on the ground. I liked him. I thought Nebraska's kind of a dumping ground of places there. But yeah, he's there. Luke McCaffrey, draft his older brother. Now, Darwin Barlow is transferring from TCU to USC. First, I got to know, Christian, do you know who Darwin Barlow is?
Absolutely not.
All right, Jeff.
He is a 3-star running back. He was the running back 31 in 24/7 in the class of 2019, and he was stuck behind Zach Evans at TCU.
Okay, well, that's great. See, we like to cover all the grounds here at the Devy Royale. I saw some articles. Content's bad. When I read an article from USC, it's like, could be a big sleeper. No, he's not. Darwin Barlow is not going to be a sleeper out there. But that's transfer news. Let's get over this. Now we have some great
Can we ask one question on the transfers? So we know that July 1st is the upcoming deadline. Yeah. Do you guys think we're going to see a push here at the end of just a bunch more players jumping in with deadline spur action, or are we kind of at the end?
I personally think we're going to get a nice big push. I think what's going to happen is these players are going to know where they are in the pecking order, and they're going to dip. And they're going to get to better situations, hopefully for C2C, and they're going to kill their Devy prospects. And so it's going to be interesting to watch for sure, but I definitely think we still have a lot more coming.
Well, I have a question for you now, Jeff, since we're just going off the cuff here. When you look at Devy assets and C2C assets too, but let's go with Devy first. Are you worried about when they transfer? Besides quarterback, I feel like every other position, like running back, I'm more worried about if they're transferring, right? Because of Devy-wise, will they really pan out? I don't even know the last really big-time transfer running back that we saw there. Eric Gray might be that guy this year, right?
Trey Sermon was pretty okay.
Yeah, but I think there's still a lot of question marks about Trey Sermon, right?
I feel like he's a hit though. I mean, he he's running back 4 in a lot of places right now in rookie drafts. So, yeah. But go ahead. No, it doesn't really concern me because I trust these guys, think that they're going to a better situation. Hopefully we get more production out of them. They've obviously felt stuck before. I don't know. It's a crapshoot. I mean, we saw Justin Fields. We've seen very successful players transfer, so it's not something that I get too concerned about.
Okay, that's fair. I did see a Florida Atlantic coach, I believe. He tweeted something out like about transfer guys, like you shouldn't transfer. You're going from 3 to 1,000, and then he actually transferred himself as a player. Like, don't be a hypocrite. Like, let's be better than that, guys out there. All right, we're gonna go to spring football now, and Jeff was super excited about his spring football game. He thought it was one of the best games on the docket. So we covered Minnesota, Colorado, and Mississippi State. We're gonna start with Christian. He covered Minnesota. How does Minnesota look this year?
Well, I think they would have looked a lot better if Mohamed Ibrahim was out there, but he wasn't. And so we were kind of working with a pretty good group of wide receivers. Tanner Morgan, who, I was high on Tanner Morgan going into last year, and then he put up every dud possible. And he looks uncomfortable in the pocket. And so I watched the spring game. I'm like, okay, he's 1 year older. He's going to be better at that. Nope, I was wrong. Zach Anixtad, the backup, definitely looked better, and he didn't really look that good either. He was 14 for 23, 232 yards with an interception on the last play of the game. I think he's the best quarterback. I don't think he sees the field, though, because I think they are going to stick with Tanner Morgan. Outside of that, Chris Ottman-Bell had a just gorgeous catch, about 20 to 30 yards downfield. He looked pretty good. Running back, not really that good. Cam Wiley has a little bit of juice, but I don't think they know how to use him properly. They seem to go for the short, stocky running backs. The whole wide receiver room was actually impressive to me. But outside of that, I don't know what you're going to get with Tanner Morgan throwing them the ball. So that's kind of where I'm at with Minnesota. I wish we would have seen Ibrahim out there. That's the one point, because I think that offense is, exponentially better when he's out there. Jeff, what did you think of the game?
Well, I think they're going to ride Ibrahim. So him not being in there, I think you've hit a great point that we didn't see what their full offense was. I just felt like PJ Fleck was more willing to be PJ Fleck with Anixtad at quarterback. It seemed like was my takeaway a little bit. And, I had a tweet during this game. I just had the thought of there's so many, we've talked about already, Jack Cohn at Notre Dame. So some of these other veteran quarterbacks that the coaches, what you're going to get out of them, but they're not going to be the type of guy that is holding a Rose Bowl banner for Minnesota on some magic year. I just don't believe that. So too many college coaches want to go to the senior quarterback instead of letting a young guy play and have a chance. But Kevin, what's your thoughts on this game?
I mean, you guys pretty much said it all. I think, man, Anixtad looked a lot better. Do you think, Christian, Ibrahim really ruined his value NFL-wise for coming back? Because I thought he should have declared. If he would have declared, do you think he would have got drafted over guys like Trey Sermon?
Man, well, I'll tell you, I had him ranked that way.
Okay.
And so I don't know if that's how NFL teams would have viewed him, just because he is a little shorter. But he reminds me a little bit of Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He's got some burst to him. He's decent. We don't really see him catch passes out of the backfield enough to where you'd be comfortable with that. But I think he would have been a day 2 pick. I still think he can be, though, because I think he's going to go out and be the Big Ten running back of the year. And so I think he still has that opportunity. I hope. I like him.
No, I think that's fair. I think he's a great C2C asset. If you have him, they're going to ride him.
Yes.
And you're going to score. You probably had a better value last year.
I have him, so I feel pretty good.
Nice. I figured Jeff would have him. Jeff probably drafted a linebacker. All right.
I only drafted one DB my whole draft.
All right. Jeff's coming back. Jeff watched the Colorado. It was a spring spectacular showcase. Jeff, what do you got for us for Colorado out there in the Pac-12?
Well, I feel like this is the test because you magically had a couple Pac-12 games and you're kind of like, why am I getting stuck with these Pac-12 games? And then the last couple show sheets you've been on, and I've gotten these practices, and so I think we're just kind of pushing each other to see who's getting the work done first. And so, but the Colorado spring showcase was, remember when Colorado was good? Because God, I don't know, they're not going to be. I feel like last year. They won 2 very close games, and then they had 2 weaker opponents. Carl Durrell is just kind of – we saw him at UCLA. He's just kind of meh as a coach. And I think that they had maybe something cooking in Colorado with Mel Tucker, but with him now in Michigan State, it's just a rebuild. And Carl Durrell is not the type of guy that I think is going to go through there. In the game, Sam Neuer was their quarterback last year. He was hurt. Jarek Broussard sat out. I don't know. JT Shrout and Brendan Lewis played. And so we talked before the episode, and I found these stats on an article through their school website. And this is not what I saw in the game, but apparently Brendan Lewis was 8 of 9 for 62 yards and a touchdown. So good for him. I don't know. Laviska Shenault's brother, Levante, he looks good. He looked like maybe the one asset that I saw out there. And I don't know if you guys saw anybody else, or if missing Neuer and Broussard makes such a big difference.
So probably, but the point I wanted to make, I'm almost positive Levante got arrested with DUI. And so when I flipped on the game, because when I was doing some research on him for our C2C draft, and I was like, oh yeah, this kid probably won't be on the team anymore. I flip on the game and I see him out there. I'm like, man, I probably would have been comfortable drafting this kid. He's explosive. He looks like Laviska did when he was there. And so I think that might be an asset worth looking at. Otherwise, this game was pretty awful.
Yeah, I think he did get a DUI because I just looked him up on Wikipedia, and his profile pic is a mugshot. So he definitely
this feels very on brand. So.
He definitely got, but hey, he's out there. So hey, hey, we're here to research for you guys. That's what we're here for on the show.
He looked good when in the practice.
Hey, I understand. Hey, I give a little shout out to Brendan Lewis. I knew about him a little bit because when I was going through all my Devy stuff, he's 6'3", 209. He's a young kid. He's a good dual threat. They just need so much talent on that roster that it's hard to really go through. But I do know about him, and I know that he had that. The running back situation, I guess. Ashad Clayton, did he play?
I did not notice.
I don't think he did.
So.
When I was looking, I was trying to find it, but like you said, it was a weird spring game. A lot of people draft Clayton pretty high. I don't necessarily know. He hasn't really shown it yet. He was getting drafted pretty high last year. I know he was like a Devy darling, C2C darling. I'd stay away from this offense. I guess Shenault looked pretty explosive, but I'm staying away, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. All right, let's get out of this game. This is just a nightmare. I had Mississippi State. I think that Mississippi State's going to be awful. Their defense is bad, but their offense in C2C and Devy format, but C2C formats, they're going to put up a lot of points. It's going to be a terrible defense. They were talking about I was listening to the broadcast, and they were saying that maybe they have a couple third round guys on that defense, or excuse me, 3-day guys, 3, 4, 5 rounds, maybe in there. I just don't see it. They don't look very good. They had Jack Abraham there and Will Rogers. Abraham transferred. He had 162 yards and 2 touchdowns. Rogers had 255 yards and a touchdown. I really think that's Rogers' job based on what he kind of did last year, what he was able to do in the spring game. They threw it to 9 different receivers, which is pretty common in that offense and what Leach likes to do there. The guy that I think there's 3 guys that I really want in that offense. One's Jaden Wally. I love Wally. I've been a big Wally guy for a long time. He's 6'1", 180. He's explosive. Last year he had 52 receptions, 700 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Wally's a legit receiver. I don't like his number though. I will say that. I'm going to stay on brand with the show. 31 is not a good wide receiver number. It frustrates me to no end. That's what struggles with me with him. The running backs, Marks, I've been a big Marks guy. They're going to get a ton of targets. He had 7 catches in this game, 49 yards. Dylan Johnson balled out too. Young running back behind Marks, 113 yards total, 12 catches, 64 yards, and 49 yards rushing. And that's just pretty on brand for that offense. They're going to target their running backs. Look at what Borghi did. But you got to be careful with Devy assets. I don't necessarily think these 2 guys are Devy assets. I think Wally could be. But besides that, it's kind of C2C assets, right, Christian?
Yeah, I'm along the same wavelength there.
Yeah, so that's kind of how I feel. Did you guys see anything, Jeff?
I completely agree. I don't know. See, it feels like Mike Leach was in the wrong time to go to the SEC West. If he had gone back when Alabama was kind of running more ball control and he was bringing something different to the conference, but it's wide open, and I just don't feel like he's going to be recruiting at the level, and now they're just going to kind of play the same style as everybody else and lose. I was kind of hoping he'd go to Illinois, and I feel like in Big Ten West, they could have done something interesting at Illinois because he's a weird enough dude. But in this game, no, I agree with Wally. Other than that.
Yeah, I like those guys. I think that when you look at what Wally was able to do, I like him. But other receivers, I mean, they're going to throw the ball around a lot. But I will say, C2C, I love it because it's good. They're going to put up a lot of points because they're just going to be behind the whole time. All right, well, hey, there's our spring game recap. Again, we're scrounging on the bottom of the barrel now. We'll be going to go over spring games at Georgia State here pretty soon. But hey, some of those guys are definitely some Devy and C2C assets out there. So this next part, we are going to be doing a mascot battle royale. So we asked social media, Twitter, hey, who are some mascots that you really like? I had to put my boy Lee Corso on here. He's the GOAT of mascots, as we know. And we're just going to kind of have a mascot battle royale and just talk about our favorite matchups. I matched them up scientifically perfect. I made sure that they 1 versus 8, 2 versus 7, 3 versus 4, or whatever the hell that is. And we went through it and kind of talked about it. So our first matchup is the UAB Blaze the Dragon versus Oklahoma State's Pistol Pete. Not 100% sure how we're going to talk about this, but Jeff, why don't you go? Who do you have in this matchup? Who do you like in this battle royale?
These are some interesting choices. There are a lot of schools and a lot of mascots. These are some interesting choices. So I'll take a dragon to beat a cowboy.
You know, I was thinking that, and then you kind of look at like how the dragon looks, and you're thinking, man, that cowboy definitely has a shot. I think I'm going to take Pistol Pete here. I think he's going to be able to knock out that dragon probably with his gun, though, probably with his pistol.
Yeah, it was the weapons for me and the Pistol Pete. I mean, this is not a Game of Thrones dragon. Like, this is a UAV. Like, if you're watching on the channel, you know, like I could take that thing down. So I think I'm going to go with the guns. I'm going with Pistol Pete. He's going to advance to the next round. Sorry, Jeff. You're on the outside looking in there, and you get no rebuttal. That's just how we're going to roll this one. All right, matchup 2. Man, this matchup's strong, guys. We got the Stanford Tree, which is the thing of nightmares, versus the Fighting Okra of Delta State. Shout out my guy, FF Mancherman Todd. He's a good guy. He brought us this picture. Jeff, who do you got in this matchup?
The tree. I don't know. Like, you know, there's a lot of great mascots in college football. And so maybe this might be a recurring event. Tree.
I am too going with the tree. And the reason that dude looks like he's straight, he or she, I don't know what the mascot is. It looks straight out of a freaking psych ward, man. Like, it looks like so deranged that it could take down any of these mascots. So I'm going with the tree for sure.
All right. Shout out to the Fighting Okra, though. I mean, this thing is, I've never even seen this thing before. That is an amazing picture.
But see, this is such a hard, you know, the Stanford Tree is kind of an iconic mascot. So this is a hard matchup for the Okra.
That's true.
That's true. And that's just Squidward. That is definitely not Okra. That's definitely just Squidward.
That tree looks like it's seen some hard times. Like, it looks like it's been a little through the ringer a little bit. All right, let's go to matchup 3. I think these are a little bit better mascots. I think Jeff's slightly giving shots at my mascot choices here. That is TCU Super Frog, which I didn't even know that was the name of the mascot, so I looked it up. And then, of course, Sparty. So we got TCU Super Frog here and Sparty. Who you guys got here, Jeff?
Sparty. So go Big Ten.
Wow, this one's tough. That was pretty quick too. I want to go with the TCU Frog because it's not even a frog. I do think Sparty is more iconic, but the Horned Frog name, I think that's quickly approaching just as iconic. So I'm going with the frog. I'm sorry, Jeff. Yeah,
I mean, look at that frog. Like, look at just how good they are. Yeah, maybe. So I'm going with Super Frog because, first of all, Sparty can kiss my ass. I'm a Michigan fan. There is no way I can pick Sparty. And, and I don't know how Jeff did it. I guess because he beats him every year. It doesn't matter. But TCU Super Frog is kind of where I'm going. So Super Frog's moving on because TCU doesn't win anything. And we got to give them a shout out here. All right, next matchup is I'll keep it quick. It is Brutus, some guy named Brutus. Look at that thing. I don't even know what that is. It's ugly, and it's just whatever it is from Ohio State, and then Mike the Tiger. I'm going to go Christian first because I don't want to hear Jeff's reaction yet.
I'm actually going to pick Brutus. I think Brutus is one of the more like iconic. When you think of college football, Brutus comes to mind. Maybe that's because, I grew up in Ohio and I've known Brutus my whole life, but I do want to give the home state a shout out and pick Brutus.
All right, Jeff. What is Brutus? Like, can you tell me what that is?
Brutus is a Buckeye. It's a guy in a Buckeye suit, apparently.
Yeah, with just a Buckeye head.
Probably if a Buckeye were to become a Pokemon, maybe that is like the type of thing that we might be dealing with. But yeah, it's interesting.
Do you know the origins of Brutus? Do you know the origins of Brutus, Jeff? I want to know everything you know about Brutus.
I don't know the origins of Brutus, to be honest with you. I know he's been around for a long time. I should have done this research. I apologize.
You're supposed to be the Ohio State expert, and you don't know Brutus.
I missed, and I'm kicking myself now because I missed a golden opportunity to know all the history on all these mascots. And Kevin's choices are okay, but there are so many mascots in college football that we might have to do this again because we need to recognize some other people. And I'm going to come prepared next time with my history about these mascots because that is what truly matters.
It can be like the Jeopardy Tournament of Champions. We can just put all the champs into one big pile.
All right. Well, to be fair, this isn't all my choices. They were Twitter's choices. So
You're absolutely right.
I was trying to keep to the masses here. That's what we're trying to do.
And what are we trying to do here? Are we trying to pick most iconic, or because Alfred on Twitter from Kansas to Canton, he had this Iowa Cyclone, and he made a compelling argument that not much is going to beat a Cyclone. But yeah, I just wanted to give him a shout out because I thought that was a great selection.
That's true. Well, he can be in the next one, and you just sold me. He's the champion already. I'm picking him the whole way. So.
All right. Well, do you want to break down the Final Four? Or are we just gonna whatever? Pistol Pete versus Stanford Tree. Who you got?
The tree.
Stanford Tree.
Okay. All right. That tree is. I'm gonna see that tree in my nightmares. All right. So Stanford Tree is gonna move on to the championship, and then we got Brutus and Super Frog.
Jeff.
It's Brutus. I mean, come on. You're going to have Brutus beat Mike the Tiger and then lose to the Super Frog. Mike the Tiger's like the number 2 seed in this thing.
Yeah, I'm going with Brutus as well.
All right. Well, I'll pick Super Frog just because I can't pick Brutus, but it's 2-1. So, Brutus has definitely been there. All right. Championship. Who are we going with? Stanford Tree or Brutus? It's coming down to Christian because I'm not picking Brutus and I know Jeff's not picking the tree. So who you got, Christian?
Oh, God. That's a lot of pressure. I think it's the tree. If you put that tree up against anything, I mean, it is pretty iconic because it's ugly, just straight up ugly, and it's deranged. So I think it has a real shot in the Tournament of Champions here in the next few months.
Yeah, I think Jeff's doing some research right now.
So Brutus the Buckeye is obviously the Ohio State mascot. He made his debut in 1965, and there have been periodic design and wardrobe updates, and he is a member of the Spirit Squad. He travels to many events with the university, and he makes appearances around Columbus, and so he's been around for that long. And I completely missed Christian's pick because I was doing this research, but I'm picking Brutus, obviously. But
I'm sorry, I picked the tree.
I know.
Well, to be fair, so I looked it up too. Technically, the tree isn't the mascot of Stanford. It's an unofficial mascot. I don't know if that changes our opinion here.
You're going to allow an unofficial mascot to beat one of the most iconic mascots in college history? Come on.
So it says the tree regularly appears at the top of the Internet Worst Mascot list. So I feel if we're going to stay on brand, we have to pick the tree. Like, I think that is kind of how this show runs.
I'm with you. But I think we're going to come across a lot of unofficial mascots. I don't think we can do it without that.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think the tree wins. So you suck, Brutus. The tree wins. So we're going to go. We're going this ugly tree dynasty, PJ. That is all you. You were the man, and you win. So, all right. So we're going to move on to, the sportsbook rundown, which has nothing to do with football. But go ahead, Jeff. Let us know what we're doing.
Absolutely. So everybody knows by this point, or if you're new and welcome to the show, it's broken down into 3 different games here. The winner of each game is awarded a poker chip. Whoever finishes the show with the most poker chips receives the turnover chain of immunity, while the loser must grab from the Happy Meal McDonald's box of death. And pick a box of death matchup that I lose somehow by 2 points every single week. And so at the end of the month, by the end of the month, we need to cash in our punishments off that. And I believe I'm at 2 on 2 shows. So I'm on fire right now. And we'll go ahead with Christian on the Sportsbook Rundown, the current chain holder, Christian. And I believe, Christian, did you win or did Kevin win the picks last time?
Kevin won the picks last time.
Okay.
Yeah. So he has the head start. So the Sportsbook Rundown, if you guys have tuned in before, it's been pretty much all over the place. This time we have a lot of good games to pick. So we're going to start with the UEFA Euros, and we're going to start with Portugal versus Germany. Germany are just barely the favorites. So Kevin, who are you picking in this matchup?
Yeah, I'd like everybody to know that I know nothing about soccer. Like the most thing I know about soccer is I coach my little girls' soccer team. That's it. And I still don't know. I just YouTube the video for drills. I'm going to go Portugal because I think they have a good player, Ronaldo or whatever. So I'm going to go Portugal.
Are correct.
I'll go Germany.
And as a history teacher, I can't pick Germany. Sorry. I had to
That's fair.
That's a hard thing to do. It is, but I have German roots, and so I'll just pick Germany. But I usually don't pick them in the World Cup.
Yeah. So I actually watched. I spoiler alert. I am a soccer fan, big Tottenham guy, so I know a lot of these players. I watch Champions League mostly. Germany did not look good. They played today against France. They did not look good. Kylian Mbappe just freaking ran all over them, and that's the reason I'm picking them because I think they're going to bounce back because they're Germany and they're normally good at soccer. So. Switzerland versus Turkey is the next matchup. Switzerland is the favorite. Kevin, who are you picking?
I'm going Switzerland because of chocolate and because I like that country, and I think it's cool that they're neutral all the time in history. And Turkey, I can't swing with Turkey.
I'm picking Switzerland as well. Kevin had some great reasoning behind his pick, and I'll go ahead and agree with most everything he said. Swiss chocolate is fantastic.
Yeah, I'm also going to pick Switzerland, but mostly because Turkey's soccer team is not very good. Okay, last soccer matchup before we get into some golf and some basketball. It looks like we're French Basketball League coming soon. Just stay tuned, guys. All right, Denmark versus Belgium. Belgium is the favorite. Kevin, who you picking?
I'm going Denmark just because of what happened last week and with Ericsson and all that stuff going on. So I'm going to go Denmark.
I'll go with Belgium.
Okay. I do want to speak on Christian Eriksen really quickly. My heart freaking sank when I saw that video. Christian Eriksen was my favorite player. He played for Tottenham for a very long time, and then Harry Kane, he kind of got there at a similar time. But when I watched that video, I definitely thought the worst. Shout out to AEDs for saving that man's life. But I'm picking Belgium because without Christian Eriksen, I don't think Denmark's super good, and I don't think he'll be cleared by the time this game is played. So yeah. Now we're going to talk about some golf. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to pick we're not going to pick the champion because that's impossible in golf. But what we're going to do is we're going to pick the golfer that we think will finish the highest out of a group of 4. So the 4, Jon Rahm, Bryson DeChambeau, Dustin Johnson, and Xander Schauffele. Kevin, who you picking?
Yeah, this is a tough one. It's hard to root for DeChambeau all the time, even though I love what's going on with him and Brooks Koepka right now. I'm gonna go off the Max a little bit. I'm gonna go Xander Schauffele. I think that he's very consistent golfer. So I'm going Xander. He's gonna be consistently good till the final round, and he'll choke like normal.
So I'm going to go Jon Rahm is the tournament favorite on DraftKings at plus 1050. So I'll go with that.
1050. What is that?
Don't you work with numbers all the time, Jeff? Yeah, is that how you read your numbers on?
What's happening right now? Like, that's a history thing to do. 1050. Yeah.
Oh man.
Anybody listening at home so you can spell it out.
God, I have to make a pick here. I'm going to take Bryson DeChambeau because I do like, I don't know whose side I'm on in the whole little scuffle that's going on just constantly, but Bryson just freaking yeets the ball, and that's the type of golf that I like watching. Just rear back, hit it as hard as you can, and hope that it goes straight. That's how I golf, so I'm rooting for him.
So it was a tragedy for John Ram because he was leading the Memorial Tournament by 6 points, and then he tested positive. I didn't understand why he couldn't just play by himself, like at the end. Like, I don't know.
That sucked. I felt bad for him.
I just don't understand. But yeah, I felt terrible for him.
He was making some nice shots too. I was watching some of that. All right, next, before we get to the French basketball, we're gonna talk about the American basketball. Bucks versus Nets. Are we talking next game? So not the one that's happening currently.
The one that's happening currently, I don't know what the score is. I guess I probably should look up and see what the score is. But
okay. Let's do game.
We're going to pick
game
the next one.
Game 6. Okay, so Bucks versus Nets, game 6. I don't think that this favorite line would be correct then, because it's going to depend on tonight.
Yeah.
And I would assume that the Nets going back home would return to being favorites, especially if Harden gets right. I believe the Bucks were leading last I checked for tonight, so they might have the series lead. Kevin, who you picking?
I'm going to go the Bucks. If they're not healthy, they're not going to win that series.
I too will go with the Bucks. The Nets just have fallen apart. The Bucks are winning by a lot right now, and so that would be 3 games in a row, I believe, and I think that just close them out.
Yeah, I want to be contrarian here just to give myself better odds, but I think the Bucks are going to win, and I am going to laugh forever at Kevin Durant. Shout out to my boy LeBron. You know, he's a lot of people's boys. However, when Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love went down, he was able to take his team to the finals, and Kevin Durant has, a hobbled Harden out there, and he still can't get it done. So they aren't in the same conversation. That's all I'll say there. All right, French basketball, not pronouncing these teams. EB versus Locke. EB Locke. Oh, that's one name. Oh, shit. Versus the Dunkers. The Dunkers. The first team I said is the favorite. And so just give me an E or a D. That's all I want, unless you guys think you can pronounce this.
I'm gonna do the Gravelines Dunkers D. Give me D.
Okay, yeah.
So
Jeff?
EB Poe Lac Ortez was somewhere that I studied abroad in Pau, France, and so that was the team. So Michael Petrus played for them back, if you remember him, and he was always a big deal. And so I did a study abroad there, and I've been to a game, of a Pau game. So I'm going to take them as my team.
Well, that's cool. I definitely learned something new here.
I thought it was a fun thing. I was going through the lines last night looking for what games we could pick, and that one stood out because it's just a fun story.
I didn't feel prepared. I should have practiced how to say their names. However, you sold me on EB, Pau, Locke, Ortez, if that's how you really say it, and they are the favorite, and so I'm picking them. So,
all
right, Kyle Senra, shout out Kyle.
No parlay, Kyle. Parlay English.
All right, let's move on.
All right, we're moving on. I'm pretty sure you mispronounced that last part, but I'm not gonna go there. All right, so 1050 prospect poker. All right, so here we go. We're gonna prospect poker, but what we're gonna be focusing on today is position battles. So we're looking at Tennessee, Michigan, and Oregon, and I am not the Michigan guy, so you can't blame me for that one. So the rules of the game is simple. We're gonna play poker, but before we reveal our card, we're gonna talk about our favorite battles this offseason. What we go. We're going to start with Christian. Christian, what battle are you looking at?
I am looking at the Tennessee quarterback battle. This is a battle that I don't think should be a battle. We know how this show specifically feels about Harrison Bailey, but they brought in quite a few different guys, and so you wonder what the intent is there. Hendon Hooker, decently efficient over at Virginia Tech, transferred in. Joe Milton, not efficient at Michigan, transferred in. I don't think he's arrived there yet, or he is currently, en route. But this is a quarterback battle that I am intrigued by, not for the fact that I'm excited to see who wins, but rather I'm preparing myself to be mad when the guy that I would choose does not win. And so it's definitely something I'm keeping an eye on, because I think it definitely impacts how good Tennessee can be. And that's kind of how I feel. I don't think we're going to give our winners just yet, correct?
No, we're going to do that next.
Not yet.
Sounds good.
So on the flip, we've got a Jack of Clubs, a King of Spades, and a 9 of Diamonds, and Christian's throwing out a 7 of Clubs. So not much of anything. So my position battle, everybody would expect me to go one way, but sometimes you just got to go the other way. And I'm going to talk about the Michigan Wolverines. I have tremendous respect for the university and for the university, and they've also got a football game and football team, but I'm looking at the running back position right now. And this kind of between 3 guys, Donovan Edwards, Hassan Haskell, and Blake Corum. And I'll come back to it later, but we did see last year that they did use 2 back sets a fair amount, and they split Corum out wide. But I'm going to leave the suspense for later, and I'm going to talk about the Michigan backfield. But my flip, great, the 2 of Spades. So I got not much of anything, but Kevin, take it away.
See, that's what you get for talking crap about the Wolverines. But mine is the Oregon wide receiver battle, which I think is actually an underrated battle this year, because they just don't have a lot of talent at that position of the guys returning. They have a really good freshman class coming in. Dante Thornton, Troy Franklin is there. But Micah Pittman, I don't think is going to ever be a thing. I know people are counting out Devin Williams right now because he had 15 catches, 286 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He led the receiving corps with 15 catches, 286 yards, and 2 touchdowns. I think they have a question mark at quarterback right now, especially if they don't go young. So I think people say the receiving corps is loaded, but I think that it really needs some talent. And so I'm really interested to watch that kind of work out. In the spring game style, I think it's going to be a hotly contested battle. So I'm excited about it. And especially for C2C, it has some big implications. So I'll let you know who I think is going to win after this.
So Kevin's flipping up a 8 of Spades.
I'll take it.
All right.
He's the leader right now.
Christian, who do you think is going to win your battle?
All right. So the person who should win this battle is Harrison Bailey. Now, I wrote that name down, but I'm not 100% confident that they are going to make the right decision at Tennessee. The program is definitely losing people left and right, and so you wonder what's really going on there. I think if they don't go with Harrison Bailey, he's pledged not to transfer, but I think he's going to have to consider it. Hendon Hooker has a couple of years of eligibility, so if they roll with him, then he's got an uphill battle after that. Now, I think most places you look, Hendon Hooker is running with the ones. Harrison Bailey in the spring game, he looked like the best quarterback out there. And so I think that if they are smart, they're going to roll with Harrison Bailey. They have to. He is too talented to sit on the bench. It's kind of like, I liken it back to Jake Fromm and Justin Fields, except Hendon Hooker is also coming in. He's not like, there's no ties to him. So it doesn't make a ton of sense, but I'm picking Harrison Bailey. He's good.
Right. Christian's flip, a 5
Shoot.
of clubs. Not much of anything. So the Michigan running back situation. So I don't know that this guy is going to win the job as soon as we would like to see it. They really like Haskins last year for whatever reason. And they were pretty creative with the usage of Corum. They split him out wide. But Donovan Edwards is the guy that I would love to see in that backfield. I talked a little bit earlier about the struggle with so many coaches sticking with senior quarterbacks and not going with the guy that might be a game breaker. And so I think it's up to Michigan to really, especially the place that they're in with their program with Jim Harbaugh's place, they need to take a swing on this kid that was the number 4 recruit in the 24/7 running back ranks last year, coming in and see what they've got with the freshmen. So it's my hope, and it's kind of a similar situation with Travion Henderson down in Ohio State. And, I'm going to mention Ohio State randomly, but it is what it is. But I hope that they go with a young running back. But my flip, a 8 of diamonds, and I have 2 diamonds, but nothing else.
Yeah, that's not great there. If you're in a draft, so Jeff, we have some more time, but so Blake Corum seems to be like a C2C grab, and then Donovan Edwards. Where are you at with Donovan Edwards, like drafting? Because I've been in a couple of depleted Devy drafts, and he's went in the first round. I feel like that might be a little high.
he's the number 4 running back coming in, and I know certainly what we're going to see this year might be up in the air. We might not see what we want to see, but it kind of, what's your risk tolerance on swinging on a young running back? I'd love to hear your thoughts on how you feel with him as a prospect. Do you think that he's a special player, or do you think he's just kind of the number 4 recruit, like default, like not having those guys?
Yeah. See, I was really high on him, and then he went to Michigan. I like him. But when you watch his tape, I think I get worried about, like, he reminds you a lot of Zach Charbonnet that was there and he would transfer to UCLA. He looks like the same freaking runner. The way he kind of runs, he runs a bit upright. He doesn't have a lot of explosiveness, but he has pretty good vision. I think he's a very solid guy. But it just sucks to say because I'm a Michigan guy, I don't necessarily think he's an NFL ready guy. Like, he doesn't look as like an NFL Devy asset for me, like to where he's getting drafted. I think he could, but there's a lot of things that have to happen the right way for him. And to put in perspective, Blake Corum's going as running back 63 and Donovan Edwards going back running back 19. So there's a big talent disparity there, and I just don't feel comfortable drafting Edwards. Edwards is a guy I'll wait on, and if someone wants to overdraft him, but I'd rather have like Phil Maffa from Clemson, who's going as like running back 46, like in that area. So I hope I'm wrong because I'm a Michigan fan, but I've been burned too many times by the running backs to look like his profile.
Yeah, and absolutely. And colleges recruit the similar type players, and so he fits in the Michigan type running back. But it's just one of those, we know what we have with Haskins, and we know it's not going to be there. And so take a swing there, Harbaugh. And you never know.
Yeah. All right. Let's not be depressed today. For my battle for Oregon, I'm going Troy Franklin, man. I'm on the Franklin train. I think him and Dante Thornton are going to be very close there. He's freaking talented. That spring game he went off, we talked about that. But he is a talented wide receiver, and I think that he's going to get the most targets in that offense. I really do. I think he's that damn talented that if they know what's good for them with that position, what they need a guy like Franklin. I have no problem getting him in there. If Jalen Redd or Devin Williams starts, so Devin Williams probably will, but Pittman is not more talented than Franklin, and that's coming from a Pittman guy. So I think Franklin deserves that shot. And I won.
You won. You were the winner.
Really quickly on that too, in watching all of these guys playing in their spring game, at least Franklin and Thornton had moments where, like, you were like, okay, you can see a path to early production. I do think, I think Micah Pittman's going to get on the field more than we want. And I don't think he's going to be ultra productive when he's there. I just think that they'll have some level of loyalty to him. But I would love to see him transfer out in the next couple of weeks here. I would love to see him go somewhere else. I don't think he'll be much if he does, but that would just open things up. I think then you go with Williams, Franklin, and Thornton, and I mean that's a good wide receiver core, depending on which quarterback they run with, I guess too. So
yeah, because we talked about that before with Anthony Brown kind of having a very limited ceiling, but
yeah.
I think I like Pittman, but like you said, if he gets on the field, he's talented, but he can't stay on the field. Like he's been injured. There's a lot of issues there to where I just don't want to take that risk. I'll take the higher upside wide receiver. And I've been drafting Franklin in like the 4th or 5th round of a depleted league. I'll take that, especially if he's wide receiver 1 in Oregon.
That's crazy to me. I remember I tweeted out the first few rounds of my C2C, and I got Franklin in the 8th or 9th, I think. And your first comment was that's a value there, and especially if he can get on the field early. So I'm liking what I'm hearing, Kevin. I'm for my team, but also for Troy Franklin because he's very good at football.
Yeah, no, he is. He's a stud. I love him. I love him to death. So that's my guy. I'm going there. So, well, it looks like I won this week, guys. But we can play blackjack trivia if you like. It's completely up to you.
Absolutely, of course.
We have to. We
are playing blackjack, and so when we hit, you'll be presented with a trivia question. If you get it right, then the best outcome for you on the flip. If you get it wrong, then you get the worst outcome. So let's throw up here. We've got our whoa, I'm on the wrong screen. Sorry. All right.
Look at this technology we got going on here.
I gotcha. Gotcha. Sorry, this is bound to happen eventually. So, all right, here we go. So Christian on the first one throws up an 8 of diamonds and a jack of spades, and so he's looking pretty good there. Kevin's tossing up a 6 of hearts and a 3 of diamonds, and I've got 3 of hearts and 7. Okay, so Kevin, you go first because you're sitting on 9.
All right, I'll take a hit. Whoever wants to give me a question.
Jeff, do you have football questions prepared?
I do have football questions.
Okay, you go with the football question. I want to ask you a non-football question, though.
You want to ask me or Kevin?
Sorry.
You're better with non-football questions.
Okay.
So you can go ahead and ask this one.
All right. Who compared the difficulties of reaching space in a rocket to the Rice Owls' chances of defeating the Texas Longhorns?
I remember this. Like I do remember someone said it. Who was it? Was a college football analyst, right? Or no?
No.
Is a coach?
No. It's a history figure.
It's a history figure. Oh, see now, damn it. See, this is what happens to me. I don't know. Who was it?
John F. Kennedy.
John F. Kennedy.
Wow.
That sounds familiar. Like it sounds like I should know that question.
Okay. So you flipped up a 3, but we'll figure out in the next one what the worst outcome is. You got to hit again. Christian, you want to ask him? You want me to go down again?
You go again. I'll ask you your questions because I have plenty prepared, but I think Kevin has a better shot at your questions.
All right. Name the first team who went 16-0 in the regular season of the NFL.
The Dolphins, right?
No, the Patriots were the first team to go 16-0.
Oh, 16-0. You son of a big. Oh, that context. Okay, yeah. I lost. I'm done. I lose. I busted.
Yeah. All right. I'll go. Okay. Throw a question at me, Christian.
All right. In the movie Finding Nemo, what is the name of Nemo's mom?
Ooh.
Nemo's mom is this is a good question because it's right at the beginning. Roxanne.
It's not. It is Coral.
Coral.
Coral, yes.
Do you want to ask me another question?
Yeah. What is the name of the villain in Ratatouille?
The villain in Ratatouille. I don't really remember Ratatouille. The villain. I have no idea, man.
It's Chef Skinner.
Chef Skinner. Okay. Well, yeah. I busted. So
I think
Christian
you busted,
wins this game. Do we want to ask Christian a question, or are we all good?
I want a question. Give me a question.
I got a good one.
Okay.
Who was the last Heisman Trophy winner to play at a school not currently wasn't in a BCS conference? So it's out like a non-Power 5 guys. The last Heisman winner to win outside there. It was in the 90s.
Yeah, I was a baby.
It was a quarterback.
Was it Ryan Leaf? Did he win the Heisman?
It wasn't Ryan Leaf. It was Ty Detmer from BYU.
Okay. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I was in the kind of like the realm, you know?
Yeah, I mean, white, tall, like pretty close.
Not very good once they made it to the NFL.
Pacific Northwest-ish, West Coast. It's
Yeah.
West Chicago, so it's West Coast.
Did Ryan Leaf never won the Heisman though, right?
No, he did not win the Heisman. Charles Woodson won the Heisman that year.
Yeah.
It was
Okay.
Big Man of the Year.
Yeah, it would have been tough. All right, so Kevin, you win, right? So you get your 30-second FaceTime.
Yeah, so I'll be quick. One thing I do want to shout out is as I'm doing Devy depleted leagues and doing drafts, one thing that people don't really realize, they always see the first round of Devy drafts when they start up, but not what it looks like afterwards. So this league is going into 4 years. So we've been doing this for a while. And so here is what the first round looked like. Malik Willis went 101, Caleb Williams, Travion Henderson, LJ Johnson, I.G. Hall, Kevin Harris, Marvin Mims, Desmond Ritter went next, set the 108. Carson Strong went to 109, John Mechie 110, Shipley, and then Emeka Egbuka and Jermaine Burton. So that's kind of how the first round went.
Egbuka now I guess are all the other wide receivers in that room taken then? Or was that like a reach as well? Was that a Ritter level reach?
all of those, all the wide receivers Ohio State were taking. The next wide receiver that was taken at Ohio State was Marvin Harrison Jr. at the 203. So they were reaching a little bit. I think some people are actually reaching a little bit higher for wide receivers than I probably would have liked. Like for example, Quentin Johnson went at the 209. So perspective of where he went. And then he went at the 104 of another league I'm in. So I think value changes, but I think it's good to hear like, wow, like there's really like so much different value depending on where you're at. But yeah, the Desmond Ridder one kind of confused me a little bit. That was the big, like, oh my gosh, I sat the 108.
And you were the one that selected Carson Strong, correct?
I took Carson Strong at I did it in 32 seconds. So I was pretty excited about it.
Yeah, congrats on.
I mean, that speaks to the fun of Devy, though, a little bit, too. You have your own evaluation on players, and you have your own values, and so take where you believe in guys. So I don't know. We're all guessing.
Yeah. I will say, yes, the one thing, in being fairly new to the Devy and C2C world is you have to be comfortable missing. So if you miss in Dynasty, you sometimes beat yourself up because you've got a lot of different resources and you can do your own player study and then you learn from that. In college, it doesn't matter. There are too many outside factors and you're gonna miss. Like I could be completely wrong about Harrison Bailey. He could not win that starting job, but right now I believe that he's my quarterback 5. And so, I don't think I'll miss until I do. And then I'll probably deny it and say it was someone else's fault, but I will have missed. And so you have to be a little more comfortable with that. So,
and the most humbling experience for you guys, like, is you go back 3 years ago and look at who you drafted in Devy leagues. And we have that, like, going through, like, oh my God, I picked who over, like, I've made some bad choices when I was looking at it. We went through that as a league. We went through, like, oh my gosh, like, Eric, like, oh, who was it? Gibbs went in, like, the 5th round last year, in the 5th round. And now he's a top 3 running back of that class, people think, right? Like, and then you're seeing who people drafted over him, like Zamir, other guys too, even Gainwell. Gainwell was drafted over him. So it's humbling to say the least when you go back and look at how you drafted.
Crazy.
All right, let's pull from the box here.
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's pull from the box.
All right, so Christian, you've got Turkey to beat Switzerland.
Oh no.
Sorry.
He might actually lose. This might be Christian's first loss. I have one punishment to do.
And I've got, my team. Poe.
There you go.
So that's fun. Good. It's the storybook comes back around.
Yes. Yeah. This will be my first punishment, right? I think I won I was exempt last week and I got mine the week before. So we might see the first punishment. Guys, if you're still watching, drop some punishments in the comments when you tune in. It's helpful. Jeff did his and it was hysterical and we pulled the clip and it's up on the Devy Royale on Twitter. So go find that.
All right. Well, hey, next week on June 22nd. Whoa, that was weird. We'll be back at 9:30 p.m. Eastern. Be sure to catch us in the Going for Two family of pods. Until then, I'm Kevin Coleman at @DuBois_22.
I'm Jeff Bell at For Whom J Bell Tolls.
And I am Christian Williams at C Williams NFL. And this is the Devy Royale.